Are you a mom struggling to get your children to do their homework? Are you struggling to get them to do their basic study by themselves? Tired of receiving those emails, chits, notes in the diaries from the teachers? If that's you, please stick around. Hi, my name is Fiona, and I help moms transform their children's academic struggles into school successes, helping them move from a place of feeling stuck and lost to a place of feeling that they do have the ability and have the clarity to be able to work through their children's school struggles. Now, we may have a situation where we have a good school, we are happy with the opportunities to which the child is exposed. The teaching is fantastic, facilities great, activities wide-ranging, but still with all this, the child is not flourishing. So what could be the problem? Well, maybe it is the motivation of the child. So in this video, we are going to look at the ways in which we can motivate. There are various lenses through which we can look at motivation, and one of them is to look at the temperament of the child. So temperament, as per the authors Art and Lorraine Bennett in their book, The Temperament That God Gave Your Kids, is basically our predisposition to act in particular ways. It's our default setting. So, for example, how does a child react when they are scolded or praised? Are they easily angered or are they easygoing? Are they little optimists? Do they look at the bright side or are they pessimistic? Are they do they tend to be highly focused or highly distracted? Do they, on an evening, would they like to be left to read a nice book? Or are they very socially active children? So these are some of the different ways in which children will react in different circumstances. Now, it's important to realize that this is not, these temperaments, we should not look at them and use them to put the child into a particular box. No, they're there to better understand the child, their basic needs, their basic primary motivations of the child. So there are basically 4 temperaments that a child might have. There is the melancholic, there is the choleric, there is the phlegmatic, and there is the sanguine child. So we will look at how these temperaments do affect the motivation of a child and how we can work with the various temperaments to get the child more motivated to do basic things such as their homework and schoolwork. So today we will start with the first temperament that we are going to start with is the sanguine temperament. Now, what is this sanguine temperament? What does this look like in a child? So Art and Lorraine Bennett describe this temperament, the sanguine temperament, as that of a child that is fun-loving. They love to be the center of attention. They are just delighted to be alive. They are friendly. They are optimistic. They are very forgiving. They're generous. They are kind. However, on the other side about them is that they tend to be distracted and boisterous and somewhat disorganized. You find that they may get themselves into trouble. It's not that they mean to get into trouble, at least from their perspective. It's just that the trouble just happened to them. So the question is, how does one work with this temperament to get them to do what they are supposed to do, especially when it comes to something like homework and study? This type of child loves to spend time with you, the mom, the parent. So one way to go about getting them to get their work done is to arrange a time with them and sit down with them and work out what slots of time do they have during the day for their homework. During the day after, for instance, they come back from school. So that may, for instance, be every day between 5 and 7 o'clock. They've got that time to get their work done. So once you've agreed with them the time that they have. By the way, as we go through this discussion, it's very important that you ask them, that the ideas come from them, so that they can understand the thought process that is needed to be able to make things work for themselves. So they can suggest the time 5 to 7, and you see that I think this time can work. Then from there, you get them to make a list of all the homework and tests that they need to study for. After that, they'll slot the things that they need to do into the time that they have available. So for instance, Monday, you can divide the 2 hours that they have, or if it's an hour, depends on the child, you can divide that into 20 minutes and say at the beginning, for the first 20 minutes, maybe we can do the history homework, then the next 20 minutes, the spelling homework, and the last 20 minutes, we can do the maths homework. As suggested by them. They may prefer to start with the maths, they may prefer to start by the spelling. Let them decide how they want to go about it. Okay, so once you've come up with that for say a week, then the next day you say to them in the morning, remember that we have agreed that we are going to go about this that when you come back from school, when it gets to 5 o'clock, you need to be at your desk. Don't forget, remember to be at your desk and get going with your homework. Okay, to create anticipation so that they can look forward to working through this plan that they themselves have come up with. So the school day goes by, you collect them from school, then it's now 5 o'clock. They do need to be seated at the desk, and just make sure that the room that they're working in is distraction free. There's nothing to distract them there. And yes, then they get them going. Let them get going with the homework. It's a good thing for them, especially initially at the beginning stage, to check on them and see how exactly they are doing with their work. So say 10 minutes, how is it, or 15 minutes, how is it going? And then after that, check on them again after the 10 minutes, for instance, to see if they have changed over, because you'd agreed that they'll start the first 20 minutes, they'll do a particular thing. Go again and check that they've been able to change over to the next subject that they said they wanted to work on. As you're checking, just remember to congratulate them, to appreciate them for what it is that is working while they're working on what it is they're doing. So if they've been able to come at the end of the 20 minutes, they've been able to change over, appreciate that. If they haven't been able to change over, and have noticed that they've not been able to change over, they've got the timing wrong, appreciate them for that, and get their suggestions on next time, how long they want to be able to give their work, because they're starting to get a sense of how to allocate their time, how long things take. So it's very important to appreciate what they're doing at each stage, so that they internalize that they can actually get this work done on their own. So that's basically the way the hour of allocated time would flow. And at the end of the hour, you can allow them now to do something that they would like to do, something that they may be interested in actually doing. Say you can reward them with 10 minutes of screen time before they have their dinner, if that's the way your timetable flows. I have personally used this approach, as well as helped other moms use it to make their homework lives much easier. It's just one of the ways in which I help parents and moms work through their homework difficulties. If it's something that you would like to explore, please be sure to comment below.